Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of BSSN. As promised, we're delivering another show, as today we will discuss Money in the Bank and predict every match. So joining me again via Skype is David Sheely. David, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Just excited to talk about some Money in the Bank.
Absolutely. This is what this entire show will be about. So, Money in the Bank, when and where? It will be this Sunday, June 19th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Always a great place for a WWE event. And also, guys, we got some reviews back on the podcast. Glad to hear that you guys enjoyed the podcast that came out earlier this week. If you haven't listened to it, just go to archive.org and type in BSSN Wrestling. As David and I discussed the WWE Draft, I think it was a fun episode. Also, for live updates about BSSN, about scheduling, and so on and so forth, and all the details about what we do here, be sure to follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at BSSN Podcast. Once again, it's at BSSN Podcast. And also, guys, this is a nice little thank you idea that David and I kind of came up with. If you follow us on Periscope, you're actually going to be able to see a live reaction show this Sunday for Money in the Bank. So if you guys can't watch it, we're not going to stream it because that is illegal. However, we will do a live reaction, and I will be telling you exactly what's happening as it happens, but I will not be showing the pay-per-view because, once again, that is illegal. So be sure to follow us on Periscope. It's at BSSN Sports. It's not at BSSN Podcast. It's BSSN Sports, and I'll be sure to share that via Twitter so you guys can just click on our profile and watch it on there. So, David, this past Monday we did record the WWE Draft episode. However, it was the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. David, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty solid one. If you honestly think about it, they were going up against the possible final game of the NBA Finals. I mean, we're talking about Cavs and Warriors playing over on ABC versus Monday Night Raw, and it could have been the last game if the Warriors would have won. So people's hands were tied, and I was very interested to see how WWE was going to book things. And they booked the Shield reunion. They booked the Ambrose Asylum right at tip-off. And so it was like, look, man, do you want to watch the Shield get back together, or do you want to watch opening tip of a basketball game? The last time they had this problem, I think, was the Western Conference Finals. And I think it was Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. And WWE basically booked Raw kind of like a SmackDown. Nothing really important happened. And I was very interested in seeing how they were going to do it this time around, seeing as this was the NBA Finals. And it was a pretty normal episode of Raw. I mean, if you missed Raw to watch the game, then you kind of missed some pretty good segments. You missed a pretty good show.
Absolutely, and it was very, very, also, it's funny that they started, when the first quarter started, they did the Ambrose Asylum with Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose, but also something that I did notice, too, when I was flipping back and forth, was the fact that after halftime, the first Raw segment was Cena in style signing the contract. So that was very interesting, too. You can tell Vince and Kevin Dunn, the producer for WWE, really had their finger on the pulse. They knew what was happening at what time, so they moved certain segments to be at certain times, and it was brilliant. I haven't seen the ratings for the show, but I guarantee the ratings when the game was being played between the Warriors and the Cavaliers, I guarantee the ratings were doing pretty good because they were smart about it. They put the good segments at the good times, and they've been doing that the entire finals, so definitely big props to WWE. I think it was a solid episode. If I had to give it a grade, I would probably give it a B+, which is good for how Raw used to be a month back. David, if you had to grade the most recent Raw, what would you give it?
I think it was about a B. The reason I won't give it a plus is because it wasn't an episode where the storylines, every major storyline, super progressed.
Yeah.
I mean, the Shield segment or the Ambrose Asylum went kind of slow for a little bit. It wasn't really flowing as well as it could have. the Cena AJ Styles segment was excellent. I think that was great. I loved how they kind of broke the fourth wall, and Cena was saying, you don't need me to bury you. You're going to basically bury yourself. And I think that was pretty cool how Cena said that. Overall, yeah, it was a B show. I think it's set up very well. I think the Money in the Bank title picture, they made sure that there's no clear favorite. Like, you can't really tell who's going to win right now, because the guy standing up at the end, the last man standing at the end of the show, was Chris Jericho.
Yep.
So you can't really count anybody out in this match. Everybody is beating everybody. There's no clear favorite or anything like that. So a B show, which is good. It's not an A. An A show would be somebody came back and surprised everybody.
Absolutely, and I think Raw, they're getting very, very close to those A shows. I guarantee we at least get one within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And don't worry, guys. Like I said in the previous podcast, if you want to hear David and I's thoughts about any Monday Night Raws, beginning next week, every single Wednesday, we will be reviewing Monday Night Raws. And then after July 19th, it'll be even better because we'll be able to review both Raw and SmackDown, since SmackDown will be going live beginning on Tuesday, July 19th. So, future of BSSN is still looking bright, guys. And also, if you are a musician or happen to be in a band, your music can be featured on our show. Be sure, if you're interested, to email us at bssnpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, it's bssnpodcast@gmail.com for your music to be featured on our very show. So, David, let's get on to today's topic, which we said earlier was the Money in the Bank prediction show. So, first match we're going to discuss is Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. David, who do you have and why?
Well, first off, I'm just going to say these two have seemed to wrestle each other every night for the past 3 months. And it's getting on my nerves. Because it's really a storyline that I really don't know about nor care about. It's not making any sense. Dolph Ziggler's career is definitely going downhill right now, which is kind of unfortunate. He needs a change of pace, a change of something. I've been saying he should probably just go back to being a heel and work his way back up. Kind of like how he did back in the day. He was still, when he was trying to find himself really in the WWE, I said, just go ahead, turn heel, start back up, maybe give him a U.S. title run, Intercontinental title run, something like that, and it'll help him out. But having this guy wrestle the Baron Corbins and the Tyler Breezes of the world isn't helping him at all, especially considering that he's a former Money in the Bank winner, a two-time World Heavyweight champ. It's kind of disrespectful. So this is a match I really don't care about, but Baron Corbin's probably going to win it because they're trying to shove Baron Corbin down our throats.
Exactly. But here's the thing. I think right now, everybody knows I'm not the world's biggest Baron Corbin fan. If you've been listening to BSSN since day one, you can go back and listen to some of our old episodes, and you can see me and David go on and on and on about the man that is known as Baron Corbin. So this match, I completely agree with David. Dolph Ziggler, his character, for the lack of a better term, has gone stale. He really needs to turn heel. I mean, for crying out loud, his Twitter name is Heel Ziggler, so I think that just shows what he prefers to be. He's a lot more successful as a heel. I mean, let's just compare him as a heel, as a babyface. As a face, what? He's maybe had like an IC title run or something like that, but as a heel, the man's a Money in the Bank winner and a two-time world champ. So that just shows that he's much better off as a heel. But, like I said, I'm going to go with Baron Corbin in this match. I think it's going to be an obvious one. I'd be willing to bet a large sum of money, but I'm a college student, so I'm not going to do that on Baron Corbin. But here's my thing about both these guys. I think the future, surprisingly, is looking okay-ish for these guys. Because these are two guys, two mid-carders right here, that have the chance to be saved starting Tuesday, July 19th, when the brand split happens, just because it's going to elevate the mid-carders. So hopefully, they can turn Ziggler heel, keep Baron Corbin heel, because the guy gets heat. He's doing his job. He's making me and David mad, so I guess he must be doing something right. So like I said, I'm going with Baron Corbin. I'm going to kind of predict a squash match, too. So the next match, we have another former NXT superstar, and Apollo Crews, taking on a former world champion, just like Ziggler, whose career is starting to go stale, by the name of Sheamus. So Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. David, who and why?
I'm going to go ahead and pick Apollo Crews. And the reason I'm going to pick Apollo Crews is because I think it's a good chance for him to go over. I think Apollo Crews has a lot of upside. I think we've talked about him before. I said he's kind of a Bobby Lashley-esque kind of guy. Just a little bit more athletic than Bobby Lashley. Of course, he's a bit bigger than Bobby, and I think when it comes to mic skills, he can definitely get better and better. So he has tremendous upside, and I think Sheamus is the right guy to help put him over. Sheamus was, of course, the Money in the Bank winner last year. He's a former WWE champ. This is a perfect opportunity for Apollo Crews to get a solid win, a clean win, over someone who's had some success in the WWE, and it'll definitely help his career, and it'll give him just a little bit of a push so he can make a run at the the IC title, or maybe the United States title, because I think a Rusev versus Apollo Crews match would be pretty solid.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think Apollo would be the perfect guy to take the belt off of him. I'd really like that, to be honest with you. But like David, I think David said it perfect. I'm taking Apollo Crews. This is the perfect booking angle to get Apollo Crews some momentum, to get the ball rolling, because right when he got called up, they just had him going against a social outcast. They didn't really give him, quote-unquote, a push from the start, kind of like with what they did with Baron Corbin. So I think Apollo Crews should win this one. I think it should be a good back-and-forth match, with him beating a former world champion. That will definitely get some eyes on him. And the thing I like about this, too, some people, I can see them being like, oh, well, come on, Ziggler and Corbin, Apollo Crews and Sheamus, it's kind of the same exact idea. No, it is not, because this is the first time we'll be seeing this match, which is brilliant booking by the WWE, because if you want someone to watch a pay-per-view or a WWE Network special, whatever you want to call it, you have to let it be the first time they see it on pay-per-view, because they're not going to pay that $9.99, or they're not going to pay that $54.99 if you get a pay-per-view. And if you're still buying pay-per-view, shame on you. Get the network. It's way cheaper. But yeah, I'm going with Apollo Crews. They've done a good job booking this mid-card angle. And I hope it's a good match, and it should be a good match. And speaking of the first big match of the night, we'll get the Money in the Bank ladder match, which is going to be Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Alberto Del Rio. There is no seventh member. They thought about doing that, but for whatever reason, WWE just decided to go with 6. So those are the 6 participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So, David, you got Jericho, Ambrose, Owens, Cesaro, Zayn, or Del Rio. Who do you have and why?
I'm going to go with Kevin Owens. I think it's about time for him to get the world title around his waist by the end of 2016, or possibly heading into, maybe even after WrestleMania, if you want to wait that long. I don't think he's a guy who should go into WrestleMania with the championship just yet, but I think he should definitely get a title run. And Stone Cold Steve Austin thinks the same thing. He said it. I think in the past 2 days, I think he said. But he said Kevin Owens deserves a title run. He's fantastic on the microphone. When he was on commentary on Raw, he did a great job, even though a couple of lines were fed to him, and you could tell he still did a fantastic job. He's even if you don't have the WWE on Snapchat, you should add it just for the few times Kevin Owens is on there. When Kevin Owens appears on the WWE Snapchat, it is probably the funniest thing I see each day, because he's really like cutting a promo on Snapchat. Like, he's taking that so seriously, and he's a fantastic guy to have as a heel champion. I mean, he can wrestle. The guy beat Cena clean on his debut, which is huge, because really nobody beats Cena clean anymore. And he put on a fantastic match with Sami Zayn at the last pay-per-view, and I think it's just time, and at least have him carry that briefcase for a while. When they have a guy who wins the briefcase and they don't think it's really time for him to win it, they have him hold it for a while. Have him keep winning a couple more matches, prove himself, and then he cashes in, and then it's okay. So it's about time for Kevin Owens to get that world championship.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. However, my prediction will be different. I am not going with Kevin Owens. I'm going with Dean Ambrose. WWE, they're really, really clever about it, but I think after that Ambrose Asylum segment, I think they just kind of made it clear. And I hate picking a babyface to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, because it's a match for a heel to win, because it's a heel tactic to cash in on a champion who is down. The Money in the Bank, it's just funner when a heel gets it. So, believe on me, I am pulling for Kevin Owens to win it, but I think Ambrose is going to get it. However, I will make a future prediction. I'm going to say by September, Kevin Owens will be a world champion. I don't think he'll be the WWE champion. I think he will be the champion that carries the big gold belt, whatever they decide to call it. It'll probably be the World Heavyweight Championship. I think he will be SmackDown's champion, and I cannot wait. Like, the first thing I thought when the brand split happened was, great, Kevin Owens is going to be a world champion. I just don't see him anytime soon holding that WWE championship. I think he'll kind of be like a CM Punk for a little bit. They'll give him that big gold belt a few times, and then eventually, maybe down the road, he'll get that WWE championship. So that was our first disagreement. Just to recap, David is going with Kevin Owens, and I am going with Dean Ambrose. So the second big match of the night is AJ Styles versus John Cena, the dream match that none of us thought we were going to see. I never thought AJ Styles would step foot in the WWE ring, but Vince McMahon proved me wrong yet again. So this match, it was tough for me to predict. I didn't know who to go with, so I'm going to go with what I think the WWE should do and what the right booking is, and I feel like the right booking is AJ Styles, so I'm picking AJ Styles to win. I expect this feud to go into SummerSlam, so if I had to predict the next, 2-3 months for them, I think Styles wins at Money in the Bank, Cena wins at Battleground, and they probably finish it off at SummerSlam. I don't know who's going to win that one, though. It'll be very interesting. Hopefully Styles wins the third one. But the first one is going to AJ Styles. That's my personal belief. I think it's what's best for business, and it's the right booking for a man that has been losing an awful lot as of late. So, David, who do you have, AJ Styles or John Cena?
I'm going to go with AJ Styles as well. And the reason I'm going to go with AJ is kind of the same reason that you have him going over. It's the best thing for business. And it's kind of what the people want. I know it's very difficult nowadays for WWE to book things, because if they book something that they know the fans don't really want, with all the internet and the internet wrestling community, if they book something that the people don't want, they're going to let you know, and they're going to keep complaining about it, and the guy that you're trying to put over, they won't get behind. So right now, obviously, AJ Styles is the guy that people want to go over Cena. People definitely want to see AJ Styles beat Cena clean and go on to do something greater. I mean, obviously, this rivalry will go on for a while. I think this rivalry will continue after the brand split, and AJ Styles needs to come out the quote-unquote winner of the entire rivalry. They need to have that final match and that tiebreaker, and probably, maybe even a steel cage match or something like that, some type of stipulation, and AJ goes over Cena. And then that'll definitely boost him to go after the world title once again and then possibly win it. And that all has to start this Sunday at Money in the Bank. AJ Styles definitely has to come out the winner. Cena really doesn't have anything to gain right now. And if he loses the match, so what? Cena will still be Cena. But AJ Styles definitely loses a lot of that momentum if he loses on Sunday.
Exactly. So, guys, just to recap, I know we've gone through a few matches. Here's who we have so far. We both have Baron Corbin beating Dolph Ziggler. We both have Apollo Crews beating Sheamus. I have Dean Ambrose winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. David has Kevin Owens. And we're both going with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, to beat John Cena. So the next match we're going to talk about is the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Tag Team Championships, where we have The New Day, the defending champs. Then we have Anderson and Gallows, the Vaudevillains, and Enzo and Cass. This one is another tough one to kind of like put your finger on who you think's going to win. So David, who do you got?
Well, that's the interesting case in this one. We don't really know because all of these tag teams have been booked pretty strong. This is not a situation where it's like, okay, 2 of these teams are trash, so there's no way they're winning. That's not the situation here. You've got Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains and, of course, the Club and the New Day. And what's really interesting about this one is that the Club will eventually get that tag team title run. I think it starts this Sunday. I think they come away the new tag team champs. I won't be surprised if the New Day wins, but you can tell that title change is coming. I'm picking officially Anderson and Gallows.
Okay.
That's my official prediction, but I will not be surprised if the New Day wins. And like I said, there's no clear cut like super favorite in this one because if the Vaudevillains win, it's not like they didn't earn it. You know, they're a good tag team. This isn't like they're going against Primo and Epico and the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
And what was the Ascension? You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, these 3 teams are definitely not going to win the title.
Exactly.
So this is legit 4 good tag teams. But if I had to be totally honest, the title change is going to happen. I think it's this Sunday.
You see, I want to say them too because you could make this kind of be like the night of the Club. You know, you have you have Styles beating Cena, and then you have Anderson Gallows holding tag team bronze because those belts aren't gold; they are bronze. They look like giant pennies, or copper, whatever you want to call them. It's tough for me. And in situations like this where you don't know who's going to win in a match that has a ton of different participants, it's always a safe bet from past WWE booking just to go with them retaining. So here's how I think the match is going to go out. I think the New Day is going to retain, and I think they are going to pin the Vaudevillains. And then, the next night on Raw, you can have Anderson Gallows come out and say, hey, you never pinned us, blah, 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 yada, 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 and then have them win it at Battleground. But I agree with David. The title change is going to happen very, very soon. And the next champions will be Anderson and Gallows. But for now, locking it in, New Day is going to retain, but I think at the next pay-per-view in Battleground, Anderson and Gallows are going to get those ugly WWE Tag Team Championships. And here's a little bonus question, David. WWE Tag Team Championships. They're not looking good belts. They're my least favorite, to be honest with you. If you could change or redesign any belt right now in the WWE, which one would it be and why?
If I could redesign a belt, let's see. Well, redesign a belt.
Yes, completely from scratch. You don't have to tell me about the design, but just change it a little bit. Like mine would be the WWE Tag Team Championships because I think those belts are horrendous. I would change those in a heartbeat. Would you change that one, or do you got like another one that you don't really like?
I think every belt looks pretty good right now. I'm a really big fan of the new women's belt.
I am too.
The reason why is because the butterfly was just stupid. Okay?
Exactly.
The butterfly was disgusting. And, the Divas Championship. And it was like, really? Especially when it was around the waist of girls like Kelly and Eve. And it's not like they didn't work hard, okay? Those women did work hard.
Yeah.
But they're not Sasha Banks and they're not Becky Lynch. And a butterfly does not belong around the waist of Becky Lynch nor Sasha Banks whenever they do decide to give them that belt. I think that title looks amazing. Redesigning one, I'd probably have to agree with you with the Tag Team Championships. And I wouldn't really just totally redesign it. I just bring back the World Tag Team Championship. Or is it the World Tag? Yes, the World Tag Team Championship. The difference between them, I finally got it down. It took me like years to figure it out. The WWE Tag Team Championships were the blue ones.
Yep.
And the World Tag Team Championships were the red ones. And I'm saying that for anybody that's confused by that, because I was for years. I could not tell the difference. Like, I knew there were two different colors, and one was on SmackDown, one was on Raw, but I didn't know which one was called the World or the Tag Team, or the WWE. But I bring back the World Tag Team Championships because I liked it. It was sleek. It was pretty simple, and it was pretty cool. Like if I had the money to buy a replica championship, I'd buy that one along with the Rated R championship.
Oh yeah, Rated R. I love that one. That one was a good knockoff of Cena's little spinner belt and all that. But anyways, we still have 2 more matches to go. We were talking about the old women's championship. We love the new women's championship, but there actually is a women's match taking place. It's a non-title match, obviously, because a singles championship can't be defended in a tag team championship match. In a tag team match. So we have Charlotte and Dana Brooke against Natalya and Becky Lynch. So when I first wrote this down, I was originally going to go with Charlotte and Dana Brooke. However, just right now, David, I have had a change of heart. I'm going to go with Natalya and Becky Lynch. Now, let me tell you why. 3 words for you. Ric freaking Flair. I think Ric Flair is going to get involved in this match, distract Charlotte, and then there you go. That's how I think it's going to happen. Ric Flair is going to get his revenge. I haven't read any rumors online that Ric's going to be in Vegas on Sunday or not. So that's just me right now, just completely just shooting up a random guess. So I'm going to go with Natalya and Becky Lynch because of a Ric Flair interference to distract both of them, and Ric Flair kind of gets his revenge, per se. So, David, who do you have?
I'm going to, of course, go opposite of you, Blake, and I'm going to go with Dana Brooke and Charlotte. The reason why is because they're booking Charlotte pretty weak right now. She got pinned on Raw.
Yeah.
And even though, it was kind of Dana's fault, it doesn't matter. It's still and thanks to the Raw Snapchat story, because I don't watch WWE main event, she was pinned by Paige.
Wow.
On WWE main event, yeah, and they it totally snitched on them, and I would have never known that, of course, because I don't watch the main event. But I saw it, and it was Paige got the win, and that was it Paige or was it Sasha? I don't, I'm kind of messing up. It doesn't matter. Charlotte got pinned. She got pinned twice on Monday night. She got pinned during the recording and pinned during the live show. That's pretty weak, man, and that's bad, especially with Charlotte being as talented as she is. That's not good booking, and she's got to come out with a win. She's got to be the one to get the pin. Dana can't do it. Dana, I understand from my sources that Dana is regarded as a fantastic future face of the women's division, and they love her backstage. The higher-ups absolutely adore Dana Brooke, and they can't wait to make her kind of the female John Cena. Mm-hmm. But Dana, as of right now, as of today, the sidekick of Charlotte. And I want to go back and correct myself. I saw blonde hair on Snapchat, but it was probably an Android phone because it was super blurry. It was not Charlotte that was pinned. It was actually Summer Rae. Summer Rae should be losing to absolutely everyone. So that actually makes sense. It was not Charlotte, but even still, Charlotte was pinned on Raw, and that's not making her look very strong. I understand that it does make the rest of the division look strong. I understand why the tag match is happening. The match is happening to make the entire division look better. With a one-on-one match, you can't make an entire division look good. You can only make one person look good, or you can make both competitors look good. But with a tag team match, you can build up an entire division. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they're really going for. However, Charlotte does need to win, because whoever does eventually go over her in a one-on-one match needs to be booked as pretty strong, and they need to be booked stronger than Charlotte, because Charlotte's champ, and it should not be this is a totally weak champ. There's no way Charlotte should come away with a victory, and then it's kind of obvious that that shouldn't happen. That, you know, this women's division has definitely been built from the ground up again, and with the whole Revolution thing, and they've got to keep it going. And they could easily drop the ball. They really could. They could drop the ball like they did last time. So I'm really hoping that Charlotte not only wins the match, but she gets the pinfall.
Hopefully. You know, and I could see where you're going with that one, but something that I just thought of is, you know, maybe they're just booking her week and week and week and week just to the point where eventually, you know, she tries to come crawling back to Rick, and Rick rejects her or something like that. So it could be leading to a storyline, or it could just be the typical, you know, heel booking. Like, look back at Seth's last run as the champ. The guy freaking lost to Joey Mercury on Monday Night Raw. Got pinned, 1, 2, 3. So, you know, WWE, they kind of like making their heels lose a lot for some reason, which I don't really like, but it is what it is. So, who knows what'll happen with that one. But there's one match left that we haven't talked about that, as Michael Cole has said a million times, this match is worthy of the main event of WrestleMania. They've been trying to do this match time and time again. The first time they tried to do it, Reigns got hurt. Last time they tried to do it was at Survivor Series, and that's when Rollins' knee gave out from carrying this company, as he would say. And then now they're finally do it. They're both healthy. Knock on wood that neither of them get hurt at a live event or anything like that. So it looks like this match is finally going to happen. We're finally going to get the answer. Who's better, Seth or Roman? This one, I think the general consensus is, David, with anybody, that Roman's going to go over. So I'm interested to hear. What do you think? Who's going to win? What's your prediction?
I think it's going to be Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because of the way Vince sees him. They're trying to make him the new face. They really are. They're trying to push that. They're trying to let y'all know this is the guy. He will be the guy. And the guy is going to end up beating the man, who is Seth Rollins. And, you know, even though you might not like it, you have to deal with it. It's the same thing as John Cena. You might not like it. You have to deal with it.
Yep.
And that's just what it is, man. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. There's going to be things that happen in wrestling that you will not like. You will not agree with. Like, just because we have a little bit more control now as the WWE universe, and we can kind of influence the booking a little bit, does not mean everything that happens will be something that we all will like. Okay? Believe it or not, Roman Reigns has fans. Okay? Yep. If you go to a house show, just a regular house show, it's not on TV or anything, Reigns is adored. They love Roman Reigns at these house shows. It's just on TV when he gets booed out of the building.
Yeah.
It's honestly just on TV. And it really, Philadelphia, it's kind of their fault, because, you know, that's a big wrestling town. You know, when you go to Philly, or you go to New York, or basically any city that hosts WrestleMania, the Raw After Mania, they influence a lot of things.
Yeah.
Philadelphia booed Roman Reigns out of the building when he won the Royal Rumble. And then in that same building, they loved it when he won the title. But then he got kind of to be a bland champ, and now everybody's kind of booing him again. And so every time WWE is on TV, and these TV crowds are like, I want to be like that crowd that I saw a month ago, I'm going to boo Reigns. I'm going to boo Reigns because it looks like the cool thing to do on TV.
Yep.
But Reigns has fans. Reigns has fans, and he's probably going to go over on Sunday. Rollins it's really hard to not like Rollins, especially if you watch a special on the WWE Network. It's very hard to dislike him now. And he's already over. The job now is to get people to believe Reigns as a strong champ. And that's why they had him beat AJ Styles in a fantastic match at the last pay-per-view, and that's why they're probably going to have him win on Sunday. If you don't like it, deal with it.
Yeah, it's tough. I was going back and forth with this match, you know, and I'm not trying to be biased. Everyone knows I'm a huge Rollins fan, but I think Rollins, either one or two things can happen. You know, Reigns wins, but with a double turn. And for anybody that does not know what that term means, it means that a good guy turns heel and a heel guy turns face. So that's what I think could be the best way to make Reigns retain is a double turn. You know what I mean? I think that'd be has money written all over it because people want to cheer Rollins and people want to boo Reigns at those live recorded television shows. But another thing going through my mind is like, Seth. He's been talking this big game about redesign, rebuild, reclaim. And right from the get-go, he fails in getting back that WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Reigns. It's just such a tough thing for me to predict. I liked my idea with the WWE draft show about my dream booking scenario, but I think I'm going to change my mind again. Originally, I had Rollins winning it, but I think I'm going to go with Roman Reigns as my final answer, just because, Vince loves Roman. He loves him, and when he loves him, you just got to deal with it, like David said. So with all that being said, David and I, we disagreed on a few matches. The matches that we disagreed on were the Money in the Bank ladder match. I had Ambrose, he has Owens. We disagreed on the Fatal 4-Way match. He took Anderson Gallows, I took New Day. And we disagreed on the Charlotte Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky Lynch match. So guys, that pretty much wraps up everything we're going to be talking about. I guess the last thing that I will ask David is, David, will we see a Money in the Bank cash-in? With my guy Ambrose possibly winning it, I think he'll try to cash in, but won't be able to fully cash in. So it'll kind of be like a, oh my gosh, so close moment. David, what do you think? Do we see a cash-in, yes or no?
No, not the night of. There'll definitely probably be a tease, but not the night of. It's always the night of Money in the Bank where it's like, oh, he's going to cash it in tonight? Okay, that's only happened once.
With Kane,
okay?
Yeah.
With Kane. It happened one time. Okay, they've tried it with Alberto Del Rio back when CM Punk won the title at the most memorable Money in the Bank pay-per-view pretty much ever.
Ever, yeah.
And let me say this. They're talking about this is going to be the biggest Money in the Bank pay-per-view of all time. No, it's not. 2011 Money in the Bank will forever be the greatest Money in the Bank pay-per-view of all time.
Exactly.
There was so much going on. Literally, I bought the CM Punk t-shirt just because that story was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to buy a t-shirt for this.
Yep.
This doesn't make me want to do anything. There are some good matches that are going to happen. I will be interested in them, but I will never, ever, ever, ever say that this will be the biggest or the best Money in the Bank pay-per-view of all time. No, it will not. It will never be greater than the one that happened in Chicago in 2011. That's not going to happen. But back to the whole cash-in thing, nah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think, especially with my guy Kevin Owens, he's going to wait till a very opportune time.
Yep.
He's going to kind of pull, basically kind of an edge. Because when Edge cashed in, Edge waited till the guy was really beat up. I mean, when he cashed in on Cena was out of a Elimination Chamber match, blood all over his face. When he cashed in on Taker had gotten the crap beat out of him. I think Taker was also bleeding.
Yeah.
He was out of a steel cage match with Batista, and then Mark Henry came and beat the living you-know-what out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kevin Owens was pretty much do the same thing, hit a pop-up power bomb, 1, 2, 3, and it'll definitely get him a lot more heat, and it'll be the perfect scenario. But that will not be happening at Money in the Bank.
Absolutely. And speaking of Money in the Bank, guys, just a reminder, the next time podcast will be released on archive.org will be sometime Monday morning, as David and I are going to review Money in the Bank. So that will be out sometime. We'll probably record it right after, but it probably won't come out Monday morning. Also, big shout out to our audio technician, the guy that uploads all of our videos for us. His name is Elio Canella. Elio, we couldn't do it without you, so thanks so much, man. And also, guys, David and I, we want to start pumping out some top 10 ideas, but we haven't gotten any ideas from you guys yet, so be sure to comment below or DM us on Twitter. Our Twitter account is BSSN Podcast, or just tweet at us some ideas that you want for some top 10 shows, because we want to start doing that for you guys. And then also be sure to follow us on Periscope so you can get the live reaction from the BSSN team for Money in the Bank. Our Periscope name is BSSN Sports, not podcast, sports. It's BSSN SPORTS. We'll also share it on Twitter, so if you follow us on Twitter, you'll be able to see it. So guys, thanks so much for listening. And until next Monday, you guys have a good one.